guys, hey guys, Hasgar here. So today I'm continuing to shadowing, making shadowing videos. So today's sentence is I had arrived at the airport 1 hour early so that in accordance with airline procedures I could stand around. Dave Berry is not taking this sitting down. Okay, I'm so will stop shadowing for 30 minutes because tomorrow I'm gonna make the videos. So today I'm retake for yesterday. So today is only for 30 minutes. Yeah. Wait a minute. Okay, let's start things shadowing.
Your long-awaited nap is within reach, but as the line grinds to a halt, you can't help but think.
Help but think, there must be a faster way to board this plane. What the heck?
Hello everyone, and welcome back to the English class. It's great to see you again. In today's lesson, we
After hours of delay, your
red-eye flight is finally boarding.
red-eye flight is finally boarding, and your long-awaited
nap is within reach. But as the line grinds to a halt, you can't.
is within reach, but as the line grinds to a halt, you can't help but think.
You can't help but think there must be a faster way to board this plane.
There must be a faster way to board this plane. You are not alone.
You are not alone.
Mathematicians have
Mathematician.
Nap is within reach, but as the line grinds to a halt, you can't help but think, there must be a faster way to board this plane. You are not alone. Mathematicians have been
Mathematicians have been studying this problem for years.
Devising a range of different
boarding methods and testing them with computer.
boarding methods and testing them with computer simulations.
Computer simulation. These models are designed to consider the two biggest plane loading bottlenecks.
The first is seat interference.
The first is seat interference. When someone in a seat closer to the window is blocked by
When someone in a seat closer to the window is blocked by people
already in their rows. And the second is ISO interference.
already in their row. And the second is aisle interference.
Aisle interference. When passengers seated in the back of the plane are stalled by folk in
Passengers seated in the back of the plane are stalled by folks in earlier rows,
stowing their bags and settling in.
stowing their bags and settling in. Different
boarding methods try to tackle these problems in different ways.
methods try to tackle these problems in different ways, but the most commonly
used approach is called back to front boarding.
used approach is called back to front boarding. It seems logical.
Board the back of the plane first, so passengers don't need to
Board the back of the plane first, so passengers don't need to pass
others to reach their seats. And in simulation, using a 156 passengers.
Others to reach their seats. And in simulations using a 156 passenger
Airbus A320, where every person has a carry-on back to front boarding takes.
A320, where every person has a carry-on, back to front boarding takes around 23 minutes.
Not bad, though it's barely outperforms.
Not bad, though it barely outperforms the opposite strategy.
The opposite strategies, boarding front to back, suggesting it's not.
Boarding front to back, suggesting it's not actually doing
much to reduce interference. Other airlines have tried to speed things up by ditching assigned seating.
Ditching assigned seating altogether.
Assuming that passengers naturally spread out, easing congestion. Random seating save a few minutes off.
Random seating shaves a few minutes off boarding the
A320, but it's not perfect. The line tends to slow down at the end.
But it's not perfect. The line tends to slow down at the end as passengers
search for remaining seats.
And while the freedom might
help you avoid crying to death, the heck is that? It can also
avoid a crying toddler, it can also split
up groups to board later to keep assigned seating and further
groups who board later to keep assigned seating and further reduce the
delays. Mathematician developed the outside in.
Mathematicians developed
the outside in.
The outside in or
WM method.
A method which loads
passengers with window seats first, then middle, and finally a stall.
Passengers in window seats first, then middle, and finally aisle seats.
Bringing boarding time down to 16.5 minutes.
Bringing boarding time down to just 16.5 minutes. Still, some
experts include astrophysicist Stephen Fusser.
Some experts, including astrophysicist
Jason Stephens
felt there was room for
improvement. Stephen ran countless boarding order simulations.
Improvement. Stephen ran countless boarding order simulations until he
found the fastest one. His order named the Stephen method.
Found the fastest one. His order, aptly named the Stephen method, can
fully board A320 in just 15 minutes.
Board the A320 in just 15 minutes. So why don't
airlines use this? Well, Stephen's method requires
airlines use it. Well, Stephen's method requires passengers to
load on in a very specific pattern. First, it fills even rows.
Load on in a very specific pattern. First, it fills even rows, then odd rows,
Then all rows using a combination of the WMA and back to front methods.
using a combination of the WMA and back to front methods. By
Staggering passengers across the cabin, it gives everyone just enough
passengers across the cabin, it gives everyone just enough room to load
their carry-ons all at once. Oh, I need a sip of water. Okay. Yes. Oh, my voice is getting better. Okay.
their carry-ons all at once. But
Stefan's method demands perfect execution. Not only does it require
demands perfect execution. Not only does it require
all passengers to arrive at the gate on time, but also they line up
passengers to arrive at the gate on time, but also that they line up in their
exactly assigned order and be willing to split from their family as
assigned order and be willing to split from their families as they board.
board. Why this level of passengers
This level of passenger
cooperation might seem far-fetched is not unprecedented. In early 1970s,
might seem far-fetched. It's not unprecedented. In the early 1970s, Southwest
implemented a policy where planes would land, unload, board,
implemented a policy where planes would land, unload, board, and push back.
or in under 10 minutes as soon as the plane touches down.
All in under 10 minutes. As soon as the plane touched down, attendants began
unloading bags into the aisles. By the time it reaches the gate,
bags into the aisles. By the time it reached the gate, new passengers
were already lined up on the tarmac boarding others.
already lined up on the tarmac, boarding as others deplaned.
People were still fighting seas as the plane taxis toward
We're still finding seats as the plane taxied toward the runway.
Such a system wouldn't fly by today's
Such a system wouldn't fly by today's
aviation standards. There are also engineering
standards. There are also engineering options to explore.
loading a plane with 240 seats through two doors instead of one can.
A plane with 240 seats through two doors instead of one can potentially speed
up boarding by 5 minutes. Another proposal, the side lift
boarding by 5 minutes. Another proposal, the side slip seat offsets
the middle seats, allowing the auxiliaries to slide over it.
That's the middle seat, allowing the aisle seat to slide over it and temporarily
widen the aisles, potentially reducing boarding time by up to 20%.
widen the aisle, potentially reducing boarding times by up to 20%. However,
while faster boarding time may save airlines on operational costs,
faster boarding times may save airlines on operational costs. It's unlikely
they actually invest in this redesign, since they also value in
They'd actually invest in these redesigns, since there's also value in keeping the
process aggravating. Long lines mean passengers are
process aggravating.
aggravating. Long line mean passengers are
Long lines mean passengers are more willing to
pay for tickets that allows them to get on the plane first.
pay for tickets that allow them to get on the plane first. It's frustrating, but
It's frustrating, but before you cancel your ticket, it's worth noting
before you cancel your tickets, it's worth noting that there really isn't
there really isn't much time to be saved.
much time to be saved. Even the most perfect
Even the most perfectly executed boarding strategies would likely only
executed boarding strategy would likely only save us
save us about 10 minutes.
about 10 minutes. So perhaps the best
So perhaps the best solution is to take a breath, allow your fellow passengers
solution is to take a breath, allow your fellow passengers some grace,
and try to enjoy the ride.
and try to enjoy the ride. Ready to
Okay.
try to enjoy the ride. Ready to keep learning? Watch these
To keep learning, watch these videos to either challenge
videos to either challenge what you think you know or learn
and you think you know or learn more about what you don't. Surprise, and stay curious.
more about what you don't. Subscribe and stay curious.
Surprise and stay curious. Okay. Next videos. Let me find. We'll see the next video here. But key forest here. We're watching this video. The sentence. The next sentence is just like cheese in a white, and I do believe that's what they are. Is a submarine forest. C.S. Lewis, The Voyage of the Dark Cheetah.
In the mid-20th century,
In the mid-20th century, the first scuba technology allowed deep sea
the first scuba technology allowed deep-sea divers in the
Mediterranean to reach previously impossible
Mediterranean to reach previously impossible depths,
and after descending into the Mesophotic
descending into the
Mesophotic zone, an ocean region spanning 30 to 150
an ocean region spanning 30 to 150 meters.
These aquanauts made
a
remarkable discovery up to 19 meters below the surface.
Discovery up to 90 meters below the surface, where sometimes
only 0.1% of surface sunlight can reach.
the 0.1% of surface sunlight can reach.
They found a forest of huge kelp, over twice the size of
forest of huge kelps, over twice the size of a giraffe. Today, kelps are known
to be the largest marine plants and they are
to be the largest marine plants, and there had already
plants. Today, kelps are also to be the largest marine plants, and there had already
been
talk of such giants being pulled up from enormous depths in the late 90th.
giants being pulled up from enormous depths in the late 19th century.
In the 19th century, but following the Mediterranean discovery, fishermen, naval officers,
naval officers, and
scientists began dredging up more massive mesophotic kelps.
In the Philippine
Sea and off the coast of Brazil, Australia, and North America.
and off the coasts of Brazil, Australia, and North America. There were
even claims of planes this largest being brought up from as deep as
of plants this large being brought up from as deep as
150 meters, thus deeper than the Great Pyramid of Giza.
Meters. That's deeper than the Great Pyramid of Giza is tall.
This forest should be impossible, like any other plant. Kelps require light.
Should be impossible. Like any other plant, kelps require light to grow.
Yet these specimens grow as
large as and often
even larger than their shallow counterparts, or with less light than they should require just to stay alive. Then again, the mesophotic is a border between two worlds. One where life depends on energy provided by sunlight, and other well
on the energy provided by sunlight, and another where life has learned to live
in darkness. So how have these larger
darkness? So how have these large
light-dependent organisms adapted to thrive at such depths? Researchers are still investigating
the
answer to this question, but they do have theories. Mesophotic kelp.
Mesophotic kelps photosynthesize
more efficiently than their shallow counterparts. And some have suggested this might be due to having very large surface area. Relative to biomass, which allowed deep kelp to maximize
to maximize light
harvesting and minimize respiration.
By taking
this adaptation into account, existing research still suggests that deep kelp forests don't photosynthesize enough to sustain
Kelp forests don't photosynthesize enough to sustain their growth.
And respiration even at peak sunlight.
And respiration, even at peak sunlight. So the real key to
their success might be
thriftiness.
Photosynthesis is depend on four main ingredients: sunlight, water, nutrient.
Is dependent on four main ingredients: sunlight, water, nutrients,
and CO2.
and CO2. And while sunlight is
severely limited, the deep ocean is full of water.
severely limited, the deep ocean is full of water and nutrients.
It also full of CO2. However, most marine CO2
It's also full of CO2. However, most marine CO2 is in a
bicarbonate form that requires lots of energy to convert.
form that requires lots of energy to convert. Most aquatic plants have evolved mechanisms
to handle this energy-intensive process, but deep kelps
to handle this energy-intensive process. The deep kelps take
the easy way out, since the deeper waters have more CO2.
the way out. Since their deeper waters have more CO2, which doesn't
need to convert it, they get their fuel through low energy passive.
to be converted, they get their fill through low energy passive fusion.
Mesophotic kelps also save energy
Mesophotic kelps also save energy by not having to
produce molecular sunscreen, which planes typically need to avoid.
produce molecular sunscreen, which plants typically need to avoid damage from excess
Sunlight. These aren't the only tricks deep kelps.
These aren't the only tricks deep kelps use to
conserve energy. In the darker winter months, these planes suppress
energy. In the darker winter months, these plants suppress their
respiration and subsist on the carbon reserves they stocked up
and subsist on the carbon reserves they stocked up over the summer.
This adaptation is similar to
This adaptation is similar to how shallow
polar kelp forests survive months of darkness.
Forests survive months of darkness. But while
mesophotic kelps access to sunlight also changes with the seasons.
access to sunlight also changes with the seasons.
Temperature is fairly consistent in the deep ocean, so they don't have
is fairly consistent in the deep ocean, so they don't have to
contend with extreme temperature swings. These forests acts as a climate
extreme temperature swings. This lets these forests act as a climate refuge,
providing a stable home for species in shallower zones, fleeing
a stable home for species in shallower zones, fleeing
marine heatwaves. Kelps also draw down some of the atmospheric CO2 that causes climate change In fact, kills detritus.
CO2 that causes climate change. In fact, kelp detritus will keep
photosynthesizing and drawing down CO2 as it drifts to the ocean.
and drawing down CO2 as it drifts to the ocean floor.
The researchers are still investigating its exact impact.
The researchers are still investigating its exact impact on the carbon cycle.
There's still lots to be learned about.
There's still lots to be learned about the oceans.
The ocean hardens forests. In fact, we still don't even know how much of
the forests. In fact, we still don't even know how much of the seafloor they
cover. Since most kelp forests are invincible to satellite.
Since most kelp forests are invisible to satellites, researchers need to.
Okay, it's enough for today. Ta-ta for now. And if you want to watching two video I'm will record in this video, you can click description to click to the link have pinned it. So yeah, see you tomorrow. Bye bye.